Good morning, this is Ted from The Devil's in the Detail. Well, today it's Saturday morning, and as you probably know if you follow my videos, I'm only in for about 4 hours on a Saturday. Thank God today. Well, it's probably been one of the toughest patience testing weeks I've ever had in car detailing. Is the wheels. This wheel was particularly bad because the etching had actually pitted the wheel. So I could say really it's 3 days work. Just getting behind the spokes to try and get some sort of reflection from the spokes behind. It's been a killer, and it has tried me patience, but you know overall I knew it was going to be hard before I even started. How hard? Didn't really expect, the amount of effort that it's needed to do it. But this is part and parcel of working on a car so iconic, and there's been trials and tribulations throughout the job. You have to go into these sort of jobs with a completely different mindset to what you would with a modern vehicle. What paint got on it, how much paint's on it, can we measure it? Um, you probably saw in earlier videos, I tried using more modern techniques with orbital polishers, and it just wasn't cutting it. I couldn't get the gloss level that I wanted, and really had to resort back to using rotaries. And I've really enjoyed using them, but the scare factor is that we can't measure the paint because this car's really been repainted twice since its restoration, and our meters can't really judge just how much lacquer you've got to play with. And when you're using wool mops on rotaries and whatnot, it can be a bit scary. But we've got through the paintwork issues, and also there was some sinkages through previous repairs. Some of them I've been able to hide completely, others I haven't been able to hide completely because not knowing exactly how much I could flat it. So I've had to sort of draw a line, for the safety of myself, the car. You imagine if I have to have a panel repainted. Matching this colour has been a nightmare just for a touch-up stick, even though I thought it was British Racing Green initially, and it turns out it's Goodwood Green. Well, even the stick that I've had mixed to Goodwood Green, Aston Martin, is still not an exact colour. So if we'd have had to paint a panel, because I broke through, I can see that we'd have ended up painting a solid house. Or look at that, I should play cricket. Shows how slick the paint is now, and I ain't finished yet. Now, the whole job really is about making the car better than it came in. Expectations for it, yes, I knew I could make it look better, but I wanted to make a big difference. I wanted it really, I couldn't get it concourse without flattening the whole car, but I wanted to get as close to that as I could, through multi-stage polishing, cutting down in the early stages, as a lot of different paint finishes. The doors was both painted away from the car initially. Looks like it was painted by a different painter. Completely different finish for a panel that sits right in the middle of the car. So I've managed to balance them out to an acceptable level. It definitely wasn't acceptable before. And really, I've been nursing this job. This job for me is, it's a privilege to work on the car, and I wanted to do the justice that the car deserved, because some fellas made this car by hand. They beat all the panels into shape, the old skills, and I wanted to do the car justice. Also, I suppose expectations of what I could achieve, even my expectations was lower than what I've actually achieved, and so I'm really, really pleased. The finishing touch to this job has been the wheels, and I initially said that I'd need a week to do the 4 wheels. Well, it's nearly 2 weeks. I've finished the one that you see behind me, and now comparing it to the one that I did first, that I thought I'd done a marvellous job on, I'm not so happy with that one, and I feel like I'm going to have to go over that one again. Um, no, I probably don't have to. Nobody's going to be able to tell, probably, but I know, and so really, that's what I'm going to do next, I think. But we'll see how the rest of it goes. Now today, it's Saturday morning, and I'm going to start applying the first coat of 2 of the skin. Now, this is the top coat. I've put 2 coats of the base coat, Mohs, and now it's going to have 2 coats of skin. Now I'll do 1 coat today, and then depending on whether I start on the wheel on Monday, depends whether I'll put another coat on Monday. I like to leave it to cure. They say you can do it after an hour. I don't really think that they cure hard enough really to take a double coat in an hour. So I'm going to do what I think. I can be told, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. There's no time pressure on the car. There was, but there's not anymore for various reasons. So, I can spend another week on the car if I have to. But basically, I'll get these 2 coats done and cured, and then I can start fitting back the wing mirrors to the doors, the headlight bowls. They've got to be polished. The chrome surround on or the aluminium surround's got to be polished, and they've got to be ceramic coated as well. I've still got things like vac the boot out, because I've stripped all the parts and put all the stuff in the boot, and of course over a period of that time I haven't vacked it, so that's got to be done. I'll have to go around the inside of the windows again, because as I've coated the windows I've noticed some marks that I haven't got out. But basically I just wanted to, because there's been no videos this week, because it's all been about wheels and wheels, and it does drive you insane, but you have to do it. Now the car really isn't that far off being finished. I'm going to put a coat of the skin on, as I say, and then I'm going to do the underside of the wheel arch and the caliper on the side I've took the wheel off, and I'm going to tidy that up. So I'll give you a look at the before and after on that, but you've seen the other ones, it'll be the same. A little bit of paint work to do in the wheel arch, but generally just clean it up, paint the calipers, and then the wheel can go back on. So we're nearly at the end, but I wanted to spend some time just to try and explain this job, and all my jobs mean the world to me, but this car, to me, the longer I've spent working on it, the more I've appreciated the quality, the history, and I could take this home and put it in my living room and just look at it for the rest of my life. I think it's beautiful, and that appreciation has come through going over the car inch by inch. I mean, you can literally, the waves in the panels that you probably see that you think they look like fiberglass, well, these are handmade panels, and you can't expect them to be razor flat. It's been restored before, and yes, I suppose in these modern days, this probably wouldn't be an acceptable level of finish, but when this was done, it was more than acceptable. The last paint job has been debatable whether it was good enough, but it certainly looks good enough now. And I just think it's a work of art, and I'm sure there are people like out there that watch these that also think these are a work of art. You know, it's something to be cherished. This car's going to be fortunate in as much as the owner is going to drive it. It's not going to sit in a garage and just be looked at. He's probably going to push it to the limits of this car to see what it can do, how it drives. You know, he is a good driver, he races classic cars. And I'm sure, you know, he loves this car to bits, but he's bought it for the experience of driving it. And I admire the fact that, you know, it's going to get used and not just sit there. Um, Perhaps in a few years' time it'll come back to have a refresh, and I look forward to that. You know, to the more I work on this car, you know, I love it, and you know, I love all the cars I work on because you cannot do a good job if you don't love what you're doing, and you fall in love with every one of them. You know, you're like they're taking a piece of your life with them, because this car will have had, you know, 5 to 6 weeks of my life put into this car, and you can't work on something of, you know, that time and not be in love with it. You know, it's the love that's kept me going on the wheels. You know, it's a passion. You know, we love cars. That's why we're in the game in the first place. And there isn't any detailer in the country that would say I hate cars. You know, it's that's the reason they do it, is they're passionate, and you need passion. You know, when you get jobs like this, they're more passion driven than monetary. Um, it's giving your all to create something that you're proud of, and hopefully when the owner, you know, picks it up, they're proud of as well. And I'm going to stop babbling on now, and I'm going to apply the skin first, and then later on I'll show you the befores and afters on the wheel arch. But thanks for watching my videos. It means the world to me that anybody watches them. And there are people who leave comments, which I appreciate immensely, whether they're, you can leave negative comments or questions and I'll answer them. But it just means the world that you're actually watching them, because I never thought anybody would watch any of my videos. You know, I've been told I've got a voice that don't really is no good for radio because I put you to sleep, and I certainly haven't got a face for television. So, you know, I appreciate all of you watching it. So anyway, I'm going to get on, and I'll see you a little bit later. Thanks again.